Welcome to Manifested Publishers.
Welcome, dear learner, to Manifested e-learning platform. I'm your teacher today, Conan Gakure, and we are going to have a history and government lesson. We are going to have a history and government lesson. Our topic for today, we are going to look at world wars. We are looking at world wars. Remember, in our previous topic, we introduced and defined what world war. And my dear learner, would you be able to remember the definition that we gave for world wars? And I guess you can remember that we said a world war is a war that composed or that was involved so many countries, and it was between or countries between different continents. That is how we defined a world war. It's a war that involved many countries and it happened on different continents. That is a world war. So our subtopic for this lesson, we are going to look at the subtopic. We are going to look at the causes of World War One. We are going to look at the causes of World War One. That is what we are going to look at. We are going to look at the causes of World War One. Remember, in our previous lesson, we discussed and we said they have been in our human existence. We have had two world wars. First World War, or what we refer to as World War One, and World War II, which is also referred to as the Second World War. So in our lesson today, we are going to discuss what caused or what were the causes of the First World War, or what were the causes of World War One. So my dear learner, I would like to mention that World War One, or the First World War, is also referred to as the Great War. It is also referred to as the Great War. So today we are going to discuss what are these causes that caused this Great War. And in our lesson, we are going to discuss, we are going to explain 7 causes that resulted to the First World War. So number 1, formation of alliances. Formation of alliances. That is the first cause of World War One. And then number 2, we have imperialism. Imperialism is our next cause of World War One. And then number 3, we have the Franco-Prussian War. We have Franco-Prussian War as our third cause of the World War One. And then number 4, we are going to discuss something we refer to as arms race. Arms race, which is also referred to as militarism. Or arms race. Not worry, my learner, we are going to explain or going to discuss more so that you can understand what these terms mean. So we are just stating them all of them, and then one by one we are going to discuss them. And then number 5, we are going to look at the first and second Moroccan crisis. So I'm sure all of you have had a nation in West Africa known as Morocco. So we get the word Moroccan crisis. And then number 6, we are going to look at the nationalism of Balkans. These are people in Europe. We are going to discuss them. And then lastly, we are going to look at the assassination of someone known as Franz Ferdinand. We are going to look at the assassination of Franz Ferdinand. So, my dear learners, if you are asked to state the causes of the World War, these are the causes of the First World War. I've said number 1, it was formation of alliances, or the system of alliances. And then number 2, imperialism. We are going to explain what that is. And then number 3, Franco-Prussian War. And then number 4, we have arms race. Number 5, we have first and second Moroccan crisis. And then number 6, we have nationalism of the Balkans. And then lastly, we have the assassination of Franz Ferdinand, which this is the most important point as we are going to discuss, but let me not preempt it. We are going to come to the very end as we explain what that means. So, my dear learner, let us start by looking at the formation or the system of alliances. Formation of alliances. That is our first cause of the First World War. So you ask yourself, what is an alliance? So when you talk of an alliance, it is a union or different groups coming together for their mutual benefit. You can find, for example, let me give an example. When you have elections in Kenya, you find different political parties coming together so that they can fight or they can compete against another group of political parties. For example, in our last elections, we had two camps that were two biggest camps that were rivaling for the presidency or to lead this nation. We had the Jubilee Alliance, which now became a party, and then which was the other alliance that happened or that was in our elections? Can you remember? Yes, we had the CORD, yeah, or the NASA. Not actually CORD was the previous one. For the elections, we had NASA, the National Super Alliance. So you find that in, for example, NASA, we had different parties coming together to form this alliance. You can go and research which are these private or these individual parties. So when you talk of an alliance, we are saying there were different countries that came together to form an alliance so that they can benefit from one another. If one country needed help, the other country could come and be able to stand with them. So which are these alliances that were made? The first alliance that we are going to look at, it was between Germany came up together with Austria-Hungary. Austria-Hungary. Initially, these two nations came together to form what we refer to as the dual alliance. The dual alliance. But later on, they were joined with another. They joined with another country referred to as Italy, and then the three of them formed what we call the central powers. The central powers. They formed the central powers, or in other words, it was also referred to as the Triple Alliance. Triple Alliance. So these three countries came together to form a group which was referred to as Central Powers or Triple Alliance. But initially, Germany and Austria had made an agreement between the two countries, which was at that time referred to as the Dual Alliance. So at some point you could be asked, who are the parties of the Dual Alliance? So the answer is Germany and Austria. Then, in opposition to this, we find another group of countries that came together. We have the British. We have the British. They came together with France. And then they were also having, they came together with Russia. So these three also formed an alliance which was referred to as Triple Entente, or you can call it Entente. This is a French word. They came to form the Triple Entente, which we can also call Entente in our language, but these are a French word, which were also referred to as the Allied powers. So these groups of countries, this group going against this group, they formed alliances. So if Britain was in a situation with Italy, for example, these other countries could come and help them resolve the issue with Italy. If Italy was in an issue with British, the two countries could come and join them to fight against the British. But my learner, I want you to note that as the war progressed, more countries came to join either parties. At the end of it, we are going to look at what are these countries that came to fight. So how did this formation of alliances result to the World War? You ask a question like that. How come just by forming two alliances, we have an outbreak of a world war? So you'll find that when you know you have a friend, when you know you have a group of people, you can be able to make any decision because you know there is somebody who will come to help you. There is somebody who will come to fight by you. So this system of alliances made these countries to do what? To make rash decisions. So each country, which was actually between Germany and France, who are the biggest participants, you would find that they could make any kind of decision because they know they have other countries to come and back them against the other country. So that is all about the formation of alliances. So these two alliances acted or laid ground for the World War. Now we look at the next cause of the World War. We look at imperialism. Imperialism. So when you talk of imperialism, or when you mention the word imperialism, this refers to the action of a country. The action of a country extending its power beyond its borders. Beyond its, beyond its borders. That is what we refer to as imperialism. So you find these powers wanted to exert, they wanted to show their might beyond their own boundaries by getting extra territory in other countries. You can get these countries by looking at the colonization process that was happening. It happened in Africa, it happened in the Americas. So these powers, which at that time we could call them superpowers, they wanted to exert their power to other areas. So you find that these countries were trying to outdo, to compete against one another, to find out who has more colonies, who has a bigger territory, who has more influence even in other places. So imperialism resulted to competition. Imperialism resulted to competition amongst the countries. These resulted to them having quarrels. They could fight against one another, trying to get supremacy. Who is more superior to the other? And then, my dear learners, let us go to the next course. Which was our next course? Number 3. We said it is Franco-Prussian War. Franco-Prussian War. Franco-Prussian War. So, my dear learners, we have talked of France, we have talked of Germany. Before they formed these alliances, there was a war that erupted between France and an empire that was referred to as Prussia. This war was happening in 1870. 1870. This war happened in 1870 to 1871. So in this war, France lost very rich provinces. France lost the iron-rich provinces. France lost the iron-rich provinces. Why do you think it was a big deal for France to lose a province which is rich in iron? They lost a province that was very rich in iron. Iron during the 19th century was very important in the market because this is the time we are having industrialization. This is the time we are having industries being built. And in that industry, you need iron to make those machines. You need iron to make rail. You need iron to produce different items, household items, items used to farm, different items. They needed iron. So during this war, France lost these provinces, which by they are known or which are called Alsace, and Lorraine. So these are the two provinces that France lost. So France became very bitter as a nation. They became demoralized. They became very bitter. How can we lose our biggest source of income? Because iron at that time was very important in the market. So that is how the Franco-Prussian War encouraged the World War. Because once France has been defeated it normally has to find, or it encourage them to go and find partners whom they could partner with, so that in case there is a problem, right? In case there is a problem, France could have somebody or could have a friend who could be able to encourage them. So the bitterness that the French got from losing these two provinces encouraged them to even to be able to fight other people, because you find Prussia now became a territory of Germany. From France, Prussia became a territory of Germany. So there was that bad blood between France and Germany. So that is all about the Franco-Prussian War. So my dear learners, you could go and find some more information you learn, but for that is the basic, or that is how the Franco-Prussian War resulted to the formation, or resulted to the World War, because now it has to compete against Germany, which has taken two of its richest provinces. Now, my dear learner, let us go to the next cause of the World War. Which was the next cause? Now, we go back, we come and look here. It is the arms race. The arms race. That is our next cause. The arms race. The arms race, or what we are referring to as militarism. When you talk, the word militarism comes from the word military. So in the 19th century, or during this time when we are having the World War, which is happening, that was around 1914 to 1918, as we mentioned in our previous class. That is when the First World War happened. There was an arms race. The period before 1914, there was an arms race by the European powers. So the European powers were competing to produce arms for their countries. So when you talk of an arms race, it is the situation where the European powers were competing against one another to see who is going to produce more powerful weapons, more disastrous arms. They were fighting whose military is stronger. So at the arms race, every country was conscripting armies. There was conscription of armies. Conscription of armies. When you talk of conscription, it's what we refer to as a recruitment. So you would find that the armies, by the time 1914 was coming, every country that we have mentioned here, all these countries who are the biggest players in the First World War, they had almost doubled the number of their army by the time the First World War was coming to a start. So they had to compete. They were competing against each other. Who has the strongest weapon? At this time, we find even warships being created. We find even more disastrous weapons, machine rifles. Just everybody or every country was trying to find which weapon can I produce that my enemy does not have. Like, for example, when you look at this, you will find that the British were trying to produce arms that are better than the arms produced by the Germans. You'll find that the Russians are trying to produce arms that are better than the Germans, even amongst themselves, because even as you are fighting together, you need to arm yourself. So you'll find Russia is producing arms that not any other country among all these is able to produce. That is what we are referring to as an arms race. Each country was at a rush. Let us make the best weapons so that we could best defend ourselves. Are you together, my learner? Yes, that is all about arms race. And then let us look at the next point. Let us look at the next point. Allow me to rub here. Allow me to rub here so that we can discuss them.
Thank you for choosing to study with us. For more information, you can call us on 0724 173845.